Professor Dershowitz talked about the brief that was filed by Jamie Raskin. He is the congressman that is the lead impeachment manager. Take a listen.
And the brief that Jamie Raskin wrote said the First Amendment is not at all, underlined, relevant in an impeachment proceeding. In other words, you can use one part of the Constitution, impeachment, without being bound by the other part of the Constitution that says Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. I have to tell you, it's a C- brief with grade inflation.
A C- brief with grade inflation. Andy, first of all, they're starting this proceeding off. First of all, the whole proceeding is ridiculous. It was a 2-hour, hearing, if you want to call it that, in the House of Representatives. It was what we call a snap impeachment, and they're talking about impeaching a president. Now, we've got about a 40-page document we're going to release Monday that shows why the impeachment of a former president is unconstitutional. We'll release that on Monday. We're reviewing the final edits of it now. That we're going to distribute that widely and probably send it to all the members of the Senate too. What's your sense of what Alan Dershowitz is saying, and what is the point of them calling the president other than trying to embarrass or harass him?
Well, Dershowitz is absolutely correct. You cannot pick and choose which parts of the Constitution you're going to enforce and use. The First Amendment gives us and ensures us the right of free speech. The president exercised that right. At least this is what the defense says. Okay? Then you turn around and you look at the rest of the Constitution, which says that you shall not be compelled to be a witness against yourself. And what Raskin is doing, and as I said, I'm astounded because he says he was a former law professor, is you're taking the Constitution and you're ripping it apart into shreds and picking and choosing the pieces that you want to use. You're telling him that you want him to appear and testify. Okay, well, first of all, in a case that is quasi-criminal, which is what this is, high crimes and misdemeanors, you can't call the defendant as a witness. That's impermissible, and as somebody said, you can lose your law license. Trey Gowdy said that. You don't do that. And certainly in a criminal case, the fact that a defendant does not testify, and an impeachment case, and I use that by analogy, Jay, the fact that he does not testify, you cannot draw any negative inference from the fact that he remains silent. He has the absolute right to remain silent. Putting all that together, all I come up with is, this is a joke. This is an embarrassment, and it shows someone who is Raskin and his colleagues who are ignorant of the Constitution and certainly of the basics and fundamentals of law.
Jordan, they put in there, if you decline this invitation, we reserve any and all rights, including the rights established at trial, that your refusal to testify supports a strong adverse inference regarding your actions. You already said that would be inappropriate here, which it clearly would be. Well, but they haven't even been able to call witnesses yet.
It's inappropriate in a civil trial. So Andy was talking about it in a criminal trial. You can't be forced to testify, and taking the fifth is not an inference of guilt because of our U.S. Constitution. But in a civil trial, taking the fifth is only an inference then in a civil matter, and that's if you're allowed to even call witnesses, which in this trial has not been made clear. And in fact, they say they want this to be done quickly. They want this to be done in a week. They're not going to be calling witnesses. So there's going to be no opportunity to assert a fifth. But I agree with Andy. The truth is, high crimes and misdemeanors, crimes, that sounds to me more like a criminal matter, not a civil matter where you pay a financial penalty. This is a penalty where you lose a fundamental liberty right. You don't go to prison, but you can lose the right to seek future federal office and the benefits that came with holding a senior federal office as president of the United States.